All right. Well, thanks everyone. Congratulations to everyone who has spoken so far, and for everyone who is still yet to come. Already, it's so great having to go over the slides to be able to take out some that people have already gone over. But today, I'm going to be talking about building relationships in business and also with yourself. Something that is dear to me. Especially on the self development side, I'm very hard on myself. But I wanted to share some things that has helped me over the years. Our business really has two sides of the coin when we talk about that yin and yang. There's the personal, but then there's also the team. And we often talk about balance and imbalance. And for a long time, we always talked about having a balanced business and so forth. And Frank and I used to talk about this a lot. But really, it's imbalance. We talk about spinning plates in the air and so forth. But when you boil down to it, we learned this from our former company, and more importantly from A.L. Williams. It has to have these priorities: faith, family, and business. If you have some sort of faith as far as spiritual, personal development, you have to be building that relationship with yourself. The family and the business will come down lower on the priorities. Together, they all work together, but that order, faith, family, business, is always something that I've been making sure is what I do in my business. Meditation, breathing, reading, and listening are other things that can help you as well. Our business is duplication, and that duplication builds relationships. And I'm constantly reminding my new teammates, we have the mentality called the rinse repeat. Duplicate it over and over again. Learn what you have to do with what you have to do for yourself, because you're going to be teaching it and duplicating with new team members coming in. We want to simplify the complicated, and the commitment that you have to put in is with yourself to understand it first. I always encourage my team to pipe up and ask me a question. Hey, you know what? I need it explained. And sometimes we go too fast, and sometimes people need to go a little bit faster and so forth. But always remember that the basics are really what make us successful in this business. Because again, it is a duplicatable system, and thank goodness, that's one of the cornerstones which makes our business so successful. But sometimes people complicate it as well. One of the things when I was going for my executive director promotion, my former company, we created this term called the foxhole buddy, and I challenge everyone to find a foxhole buddy. You listen to two speakers just earlier, Rayon and David. Those guys are foxhole buddies, and they can attest to this. Find someone in the business and build that respectful, competitive relationship with each other to win. You want to be competitive with them. You want to have some sort of confidant in them, but you want to treat both each other with respect. Go and work on your promotions together with them. Recently, Jen Urquhart and Joe Durbecker, we have our Zoom office, and I noticed that they were going into a breakout room by themselves. And I was like, hey, what's going on with that? And found out later that they took this concept about learning from each other in their business. The recruiting and the client side. They're sharing ideas. They're learning how to figure out things on their own, but also together. And we hear often that biblical saying, "Iron sharpens iron." When you have a foxhole buddy, that's where it's going to hold you accountable, and it's also going to make sure you can see that you can do it as well. At the end of the day, you have to make stuff happen. I love this picture over on the sides. Over on the side, there are three people in the world: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what happened. But the grit that you need to have in this business, the consistency, you always need to be challenging yourself to get better. And again, this is the relationship that you need to be having with yourself. But you have to ask, what are your crutches? What's holding you back? And I know that was big with me. I always constantly, either would self-doubt or, can I do this? But you know what? It's not about the concept of always having to rebuild and always having to go over again. It's the concept of continuing and still building and having that resiliency to keep pushing on. So when you take a look at is it me or is it them? This is something that I often said. The most important relationship in your life is a relationship you have with yourself, because no matter what happens, you're always going to be familiar. Always be with yourself. People will quit, clients will cancel. The sure thing away will always want to think about it, but you have to give yourself credit and move forward. Human nature is to focus on the losses, but we have to focus on the wins. And again, try not to worry about what other people think, because it's what you think about yourself that's most important: your family, your closest friends, and your colleagues. And I'm going to leave with this here. You have to be happy for others. You have to be happy for gratitude. Jamie, I was so glad that when you posted this picture about the coach of the Eagles. My youngest son Everett said, "Dad, why is he crying?" And I said, "Everett, probably because he's so happy that he worked hard to get to this day, and even being in the Super Bowl, he was just appreciative of all the hard work that he did." But we have to learn to be happy and live with ourselves. You can't punish yourself when you see someone else's win. You have to have that gratitude and pay it forward. The book that helped me the most is Pushing Up People. Art Williams, he's a legend in our business. I know my time's up. I'm going to leave it there. Sorry you couldn't see the slides, but Jamie, I will pass it back over to you.
Well, Jamie's not here. So, thanks, Laval.
Want me to keep going on my last slide? Hey, I got one more
Yeah,
slide.
give her.
Okay, you know what? The daily accountability. This is something that I've been credited for. I'm very humble, but people have always said, Laval, you're accountable. You have to be accountable for yourself and also for your teammates, and step out of your comfort zone. Do the things that will make you different from your past. I often talk these days about second chance, redemption, do over, and I live by the saying ABP: always be prospecting. There's a slide we talk about called the man in the glass, and I wanted to throw this in. I've often used it before. I'll maybe post it in one of our groups, the man in the glass. But it's a self-reflection to make sure that you're being gracious to yourself, but also making sure that there's that accountability. And you know what? It's a poem that has helped me over the years. I often try to read it at least once every 6 months or something like that. But I know it's that self-reflection, knowing that you're doing the right thing. And again, like it says here, your final reward will be the heartaches and tears if you cheated the man in the glass.